someone you love an avid quilter? Meet the Ready, Set, Go Ultimate Fabric Cutting System. This fabric cutter takes the strain out of fabric cutting, meaning less chance of injury and better quilts made faster. The Ultimate Fabric Cutting System includes the Go, our innovative fabric cutter with an easy-to-turn handle that makes cutting fabric safer, faster, and more accurate. This 15-pound fabric cutter has a carrying handle and folding mechanism, so it's portable and easy to store. The Ready, Set, Go also includes the Go Cube Mix and Match 8-inch block, which features 8 dies of commonly used geometric shapes and the corresponding cutting mat. The Go Cube Mix and Match system has endless pattern possibilities, but it comes with a 16-page pattern book with 2 quilt patterns to get you started. We like to say the Ready, Set, Go is the ultimate fabric cutting system because it truly comes with everything you need. That includes our Go Strip Cutter 2.5-inch, which finishes to a 2-inch finish strip, a corresponding cutting mat to make cutting binding strips easier than ever. We've even included a die pick to make die maintenance painless. To help quilters feel confident on their quilting journey, we've also included the Go Cube Mix and Match blocks and quilt pattern book by Eleanor Burns. It's packed with tips and tricks in addition to inspiration. Look at some of the beautiful projects you can create with this ultimate fabric cutting system. At AccuQuilt, we want to spread the joy of quilting to all, and the Go makes cutting fabric easier than traditional scissors or rotary cutting. AccuQuilt, because cutting time means quilting more. ultimate fabric cutting experience, you need the Go Big in your sewing space. This all-electric fabric cutter is hands-free, making it the cutter for those with physical limitations. The Go Big is safe, easy to use, and is compatible with every die in our Go collection. That's more than 250 dies. The wide opening allows you to run 2 6-inch wide dies through at once, upping your efficiency and lowering your cutting time. Though it's our widest Go cutter, the Go Big is still portable and features a handle to make it easy to store or travel with. When you buy the Go Big electric starter set, you get the Go Big fabric cutter, the 3x6-inch finish Go Flying Geese die, a cutting mat, and 5 fabulous patterns. Look at some of these beautiful projects you can create with a Go Big. The Go Big has all the perks of AccuQuilt's amazing Go product line with none of the manual work. Don't give up your quilting craft. Go big. AccuQuilt, because cutting time means quilting more.
Hey quilters, welcome to AccuQuilt Live. I'm Pam Heller, AccuQuilt's cutting expert. Thanks for joining us on a beautiful Wednesday. I have a special co-host in the house today. I'd like to introduce you to Super Duper Brock. Brock is usually behind the scenes. Yes, thank you, thank you. He's filling in for Emily today. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, it's definitely the end times when I'm the last one pegged to have to co-host the show.
I know, right? It's all good. Well, we're glad that you're here today. All right, where is everybody watching from? Let's see, Carol is watching from Lake Michigan. And oh, hey, Jackie is watching from Puyallup, Washington. Jackie, we got your package with 1/4-inch tape. Thank you. Sometimes we get stuff. All right, let's showcase the new projects from our interview video. First up is Gail W. All right, Brock, what die did she use?
It's the log cabin.
Log cabin, what's my favorite block from that?
I don't know.
Courthouse steps.
Courthouse steps.
Yeah, there we go. It's all good. I love this one in the blue and the white, though. That looks beautiful. All right, next we have Pam M, and she made this adorable project with foxes and raccoons. How clever was this? And she used our equilateral triangle die. Look at how fun that is. All right, last up is Pat S. All right, do you know what she used to make this, Brock?
Cube.
A cube. Could you make it with any cube?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just be a different size.
Ah, see, he listens. All right. Today's show is all about the new Go Road to Fortune die. This is our newest bob or block on board die. That means all the shapes you need to cut a 4-color block are on one die board. So here I'm going to show you the block it cuts. Okay, 4-color block. But since I'm doing the show today, we're going to show you how to make a scrappy version of it. So look at how fun that is. All right, so Road to Fortune, you always think of long trips. So my photo of the day, here's my photo of the day. A few years ago, we drove to Moab and Utah, and it was truly the longest trip of my life because Oakley was 3. So I don't know if you've ever driven with a toddler, but it was a long trip. We had a great time once we got there, so it was fun. So my question of the day is, what was your longest road trip? Where'd you go from? So Brock, what was your longest road trip?
Okay, so Kenny and I were talking about this, and I feel like we need a little bit of clarification. If you move somewhere, does that constitute a trip, or is it just like as like a trip, like a vacation-y thing?
Did you drive to your place where you moved to?
Yeah.
Then it counts as a road trip.
Okay. Then mine is to Tampa, Florida.
Tampa, Florida, where you went to school?
No, I went to school in Lincoln.
Oh, what did
But
you do?
I worked in Tampa, Florida,
Oh, there you go.
for the Buccaneers for a hot minute.
Hot minute.
Yep.
There you go. All right. Things you get to learn. All right. So in the comment section, Brock's going to tell us what's the longest road trip you've ever taken. All right. This month's die to try is the Go Whirling Star. So here's a quilt with the block in it. This is so fun. And it's really easy to make, and the pieces go together beautifully. Last week we did a whole show on how to put it together. It's only available till the end of the month or while supplies last, but we actually have limited supplies. So if you're thinking about getting a Whirling Star die, today would be a great day to pick one up. Brock, did our die to try last month sell out?
Sure did.
Sure did. How many days?
8.
8. Okay. So make sure you pick up that Whirling Star. All right, yesterday we had a launch party. Did you watch? We have 2 bundles available because we had 2 dies launch. First up is the Go Bob 9-inch finished die bundle. It comes with the Road to Fortune die, which is the block we're going to make today, the Star of the East die. They both finished to 9 inches, and a 6x24 cutting mat. Next up is the Go Block on Board Favorites die bundle. So it has the Road to Fortune and Star of the East, which were the 2 we released yesterday, and the Crossroads die, the Setting Triangles, the Glorified 9 patch, and the Starry Path, which all finished to 9 inches, and 2 cutting mats, 6x24 and 10x24. So it's a really, really great bundle. So I'm going to show you real quick some blocks from that bundle. Okay, so you saw Road to Fortune. So this is Star of the East. This is the block that we're going to make next week. Isn't that stunning? And then we have Crossroads, which I refer to as the London Underground. All right, it looks like 2 maps, but this is Crossroads, which is a great die. Here is the lovely Erica's favorite. This is Glorified 9 patch. Yesterday we had some amazing quilts in our trunk show that had the new Road to Fortune, or the new Road to Fortune, and then the Starry Path. And then here we go, or I'm sorry, Glorified 9 patch. This is Starry Path. All right, so that's all in that great bundle. Today I'm giving away one of our Go Road to Fortune dies. Be sure and register for future events on the AccuQuilt event page for your chance to win. By registering, you'll receive event emails, and that way you'll never miss an exciting tutorial. Super Duper Brock will announce the winner at the end of our show today. All right, here we go. Now, the Road to Fortune block is usually made with templates or paper piecing. But with the Go Road to Fortune die, you can cut a 4-color block in just one pass through the cutter. So this is a little harder to see. This is that dark green and a blues, all right? But this is the block that is on the packaging, okay? So let's take a look at this die. All right, so before we do, Super Duper Brock, did you have a favorite yesterday of Road to Fortune or Star of the East?
I prefer the Star of the East
Really, why?
because it looks like a ninja throwing star.
You heard it here first. Okay? It does. It does indeed. I thought Road to Fortune, like the center of it, kind of looked like a ninja star, but not as
I
much.
feel like that's more of like a buzzsaw.
Oh, there you go. All right. Let's take a look at our die. It is on a 6x24 die board, so it's going to fit through all of our cutters, including our Go Me. Now, each section is screen printed to help you keep track of your pieces. They all have specialized dog ears, which is an AccuQuilt innovation, and it shows you where to sew a 1/4 inch seam. All right? And you can always cut up to 6 layers of cotton with our dies. You want to make sure you use a 6x24 mat. If you use a bigger mat, it has a tendency to shimmy. The block finish is 9 inches, so it would work great with other 9-inch bobs or the 9-inch setting triangles. I also want to talk for a minute about notches. Super Duper Brock, do you know what notches are for?
It's to line up your pieces so you know where to sew.
That's right. So this one has notches on it to help you put that block together. It might look difficult. It is such a simple block to put together, okay? So here is my pro tip. All of the shapes on the die board are directional, so you want to make sure all of your fabric is facing up. And I used patterned fabric scraps, okay? So it was easier to keep track of my pieces, okay? So hang on here before I start laying out my fabric. So I'm going to show you real quick, okay? So before we lay out our fabric, Super Duper Brock, do we have comments about where people have taken their longest road trip?
Yeah, coming in bunches here. So we have a few that were, one was Philadelphia to California.
Oh, that's the longest.
With, hold the phone.
Hold, please.
Because was it Diane did her one better and drove from New York to California.
Oh, that
And
is.
that's about a 42-hour drive. That's over 20. It's just under 2,800 miles.
That is huge long.
That's a long way to go.
I feel like that's the winner. All right, where else have people been driving? Any other big long
Let's
ones
see.
like that?
Cecilia drove from Atlanta to Sacramento, so that's
Oh, that is long.
been on the I-10 there down south for a long time before you
Right.
get into California.
Right.
Kathy Carlin drove from Ohio to California with her dad and younger brother when he was 15. So
Oh,
teenagers, I don't know about that.
Longest drive ever. Okay, so maybe I get to win. Well, no, New York is way farther. When I was a kid, I drove from Seattle to LA to Disneyland in a station wagon full of people.
Did you have the reverse back seat?
Yes, and my brother Brian and I had to sit backwards all the way to LA.
Nice.
So I feel like maybe that was my second longest. Okay, so in the comment section, what was your longest road trip? Hey, be sure to join me and Erica on Tuesday, September 20th at 12 noon Central Time. It is the most wonderful time of the year, and we're getting an early start on Halloween. We're going to introduce you to the newest member of our permanent die collection. Be sure and register for the chance to win prizes. Now, when I'm putting these pieces together, I downloaded the pattern, okay, from our website, and the pattern is the Go Twist of Fortune wall hanging. It's a free pattern at AccuQuilt.com, and I like it because it goes step by step, and you want to make sure you print it out so you sew your pieces together correctly. Now, this is the pattern, but if you want to change the colorway, like for example here, we have this great quilting tool called Go Quilt. It's a free tool available on the AccuQuilt website, and it has a really easy tutorial to help you get started. So this is the same thing, 4-color block. The centers are solid, just in a different colorway, okay? All right, now I'm gonna move this so I can read my instructions. Super Duper Brock, do you always read instructions when you're putting things together?
When it's quilt blocks, yes.
That is the best answer. Yes, always read the instructions. Okay, so since I'm making a scrappy block, all right, shape A and B and E are scrappy, A, B, E. Then C and D and F are solid. Now, in your quilting head, you might think that A and B are the same size. They are not. That's how you get this little extra piece that makes it look like a saw blade, okay? And C and D obviously are not, but E and F are the same. They just have mirrored images, okay? So just keep track of your pieces. I'm gonna show you this really high-tech way I do it, okay? So we can always cut 6 layers. I truly went to my scraps. These are truly scraps from projects that I've made others, okay? And I have all my fabric facing up, okay? White on white, I gotta make sure that it's the right way. Oh, there we go. Yep, we're good. Okay. And then E, again, I have all my fabric facing up. And again, scraps that I pulled out. That's the thing I love about AccuQuilt. It is such a great way to bust up your scraps. You can usually make blocks scrappy, and that's kind of my jam. All right, and then shapes F. All right, so I'm gonna use a 6x24 cutting mat. Now I'm gonna use my Go Big today, maybe? Is it plugged in? That's okay, hang on guys. Here, Super Duper Brock's gonna tell us where people are driven when I plug in my cutter.
Yes. Please excuse our technical difficulties. Let's see, we have Donette drove over 4,400 miles in 16 days, over the course of 16 days. That's a lot.
Wow, that is a lot.
We've got a lot of trips to California from various places like Arkansas and Illinois, visiting family and relatives. We've got Jolie, okay, this is interesting. Jolie drove alone 5 times to from Arizona to Pennsylvania and back.
Alone? Tell us why.
Yeah.
We want to know. Okay.
Maybe it's just one of those, just get on the road and go.
Just get on the road and go. Wow, that's amazing. All right, we have plugged in our Go Big. It helps if you plug it in. And we're gonna run it through the cutter. This is on a 6x24 die board, so it's gonna fit through all of our cutters, including our Go Me. All right. Perfect. All right, I'm gonna give that mat some love because it's kind of staticky in here. I'm gonna slide that mat, don't lift, otherwise the pieces stick to it. And then I'm very carefully gonna pull back my fabric. Look at how fun this is. So quilters ask me all the time, how will AccuQuilt help me bust up my stash? Okay, this is the answer. Look at how fast and easy. These are just scrap pieces that were just in my scrap bag. And so now I can use them into shapes to make beautiful, beautiful blocks. So AccuQuilt, that's what it helps you do. Bust up your stash, use up your scraps. Don't forget we have launch bundles today, including the Go Bob 9-inch finished die bundle, which has everything you need to get started with the 2 new bob dies and a cutting mat. And today I'm giving away one of our Go Road to Fortune dies. Be sure and register for future events on the AccuQuilt event page for your chance to win. All right, so now we're gonna lay out our pieces and sew our pieces together. Basically, you are creating, here I have a block, you are creating 2 halves of a quarter block. So would that be an 1/8? Yes. All right, and the first 2 shapes are different. So these are different, these are different, these are the same, okay? And I did this really high-tech way of keeping track of my pieces. Brock, do you know my high-tech way?
I assume you have some sort of machine that sorts the pieces by color or shape?
Or I use sticky notes.
Oh, yeah, high tech.
High tech, that works too, okay? So there's shape A and there is shape B, okay? And when we get to shape E, I'm gonna show you a trick there, all right? So let's start, I'm gonna build Oh gosh, should I build? I'm just going to build one. All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to follow our instructions, and we're going to start with shape A. Now, shape A is going to go to shape D, all right, which is right here. And I like to leave my pieces on the die board right here at least until I'm ready to use them. Now, you know that these are going to come together because they have notches that match right there, okay? And that's how you're going to know they work. Again, I'm following my pattern. All right, so I'm going to sew these together, and then I'm going to press my seams open. Now, quilters, it's probably going to take me most of the show to show you how to sew some blocks together and to make a finished 9-inch block. I made my little fun pieces in 15 minutes. I cut and sewed all of these 6 little quarter blocks, okay? We just like to have a good time. All right, so now I'm going to sew. So while I'm sewing, Mr. Brock, tell us where people have gone on their road trips or if people have questions.
Yeah, okay, so a couple more trips. Ann O'Connor drove from Boston to Fort Myers about 8 times. They got really good at the little travel road trip car activities. Great memories, but yeah, gotta maybe let us know which games they were playing.
Yeah, which games were you playing?
Annette Anderson went from Washington State to North Dakota with a 3-year-old and a 9-month-old.
Oh, blessings on your head.
Yeah, drove straight through, said you had to take one stop to make a quick cat nap, but
Yes.
her boys are now 37 and 40, so
Okay.
this was at a time when, you didn't have the luxury of plugging in the iPod and just going podcast
Right.
for a while.
Yeah, you just had to drive. Holy smokes. Kudos to you. All right, so now I have shape A to shape D, all right? And now I'm gonna add shape E. I wanna show you this trick, okay? The way you're gonna know, because we have 2 shape E's, the way you're gonna know that it's the correct side is because you're going to lay it right here and the notches are going to line up. And this now is kind of making your little pie shape. So in my pile over here, in my high-tech pile of sticky notes with A and B, I then took this section that goes with A, right? And I put it with A, so I knew. And then this section that goes with shape B, I put them over here, okay? That way I just kept track of my pieces. And now it's super easy. Now, I told you to press your seams open, and speaking of pressing, we had a question last week about why I don't use steam in the steam fast iron that we sell on our website. Brock, do you know why I don't use steam?
Because it warps the fabric?
It does. It does. It has water and steam, and so it makes the fabric and it stretches it. So even though it's a steam fast iron, I never use steam in my little iron. But I do use steam for other projects, like if I'm making a collage quilt or some kind of bag. With or without steam, this is a small portable iron. It makes a great addition to any sewing room. When I travel, this is the one that I take with me, okay? All right, so now I'm gonna sew that shape E to D, and if we can just get a little overhead shot, you can see how perfect this is gonna go together. Okay, look, the notches are going to line up. You don't have to pin it, and now you can just sew your 1/4-inch seam. Okay, super duper Brock, do we have questions?
Yeah, we did have one question from Deborah Zollner. She says, I hear everyone talking about laying on the grain and putting it through. How do you know which way that is?
Oh, that's a great question. In 1 second, we'll show you, Deborah, how to find that grain. All right. So now I'm going to press my seams open. Here we go. Okay, well, first of all, Brock, do you know why we cut on the lengthwise grain?
'Cause if you don't, when you lay it on the die board, it stretches the fabric in the way that when you sew it together, it's not going to go right.
It's going to be wonky.
Wonky?
Yes.
That's the word.
Wonky is the word. Okay. So here's our fabric. If there was a salvage edge on the fabric, that lengthwise grain is parallel to the selvage edge. But this is scraps that we cut up, right? So to find that lengthwise grain, I'm gonna do a pull test. So look at this, Deborah. Look, I'm gonna look at all of that stretch. That's the bias edge, but look at this. High and tight, really tight. This is the lengthwise grain. So when I lay fabric down over my shapes, I want this lengthwise grain to be parallel with these blades and the shapes here, okay? There's also a label on your die that you can, make sure you have the lengthwise grain parallel to that label. But lengthwise grain is super important because just like Brock said, if I use the bias edge and I pull, it's gonna stretch and then it's gonna cut and then it's gonna come back together. And then what's gonna happen is it's not gonna fit together perfectly. So when I laid out my fabric, I made sure that I had it on the lengthwise grain, even my little scraps. So that's a great question, okay? And quilters, don't forget, all of our videos live on our Facebook and YouTube channels, so you can go back and watch them if you need to, okay? All right, so now I've sewn shape E to my unit, and now I'm gonna add shape F. All right? And just like E, there's a left and a right, so we're gonna move them here so we know, okay? This just helped me to put all my pieces together. And when I sewed this block, I totally chain pieced, right? Because then I can just chain piece all of this sections and then the opposite section, sew them together and make my cute little squares. All right, so I'm now gonna sew this piece to our little unit here, and the super duper Brock's gonna tell us about our blog.
Yeah, first of all, we have one, which is great. It's a really great chance for everyone to get a bunch of inspiration from the posts that we make about the different blocks that we release.
Right.
The most recent ones were about our 2 new dies, so definitely check that out. And it's just a great place to meet the go-getters, the people kind of behind the scenes that are helping make this whole thing go, and get involved with the conversation that the whole community is having.
Yeah, thank you. He's exactly right. All right, so here's my first half of my quarter block. All right, so now we're gonna follow the instructions, because here's the first half, to follow the instructions to create that second half. All right? Do you have a question? Are you good?
No,
Oh, good. He's just happy to be here. Brock is just happy to be here. Okay.
I got more trips if you want to hear about.
Oh, yes. Please tell us about trips.
So we got Lynn Glessing, who drove with her 9-year-old son from Wisconsin to Anchorage, Alaska.
Oh.
Now, I was curious, so I did the math on that.
Okay.
That is a 58-hour drive. That is over 3,400 miles from Wisconsin.
Wow. Yeah, because you got to kind of go through Alaska. Yeah, you got to
go through all of Canada.
Wow.
At least I assume that's the way she went.
I assume that.
She drove to Seattle and took a boat. I don't know.
I don't know. I wonder, though, if she drove to Seattle and then went up the coast to Alaska.
That could have been.
Or if she went across the Rockies. Wow, that is a long trip.
That is a ways.
What do you talk about for 58 hours? Nothing.
I mean, I could talk about sports, movies, that kind of stuff.
Brock is our movie trivia guy. We have Tuesday trivia before our show on Tuesdays. So he makes sure there are rules that we follow. All right. I love it. Okay, so now let's sew our second half. So we're going to start with shape B, and then we're going to add shape C. Okay, so the other side we had shape B, but now we're going to add shape C. Okay, and again, this is going to line up just like this. I love that it's perfect. It cuts it perfectly. All right, so far she's the winner, Ohio to Alaska.
Yeah, we've got some more here.
Okay.
Let's see. Pamela went from northeast Oklahoma to New Orleans. Not a very long trip, but she said it was torrentially downpouring the entire trip until they were almost at their hotel in New Orleans.
Oh my
I
goodness.
feel like that adds like an extra like 10 hours to any trip.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. We once drove from, where do we live? Nebraska to Little Rock, Arkansas. And literally we got an hour from my parents' house and it was like freezing rain. And we sat on the interstate because traffic couldn't move. And we literally were like less than an hour from my parents' house. It was crazy. We sat there for 8 hours. Because traffic couldn't move. And finally, we just put it in four-wheel drive and took our lives in our own hands. It was fine.
I don't know. I think we might have the winner here, though.
Okay.
Deborah Rogers said they went on a trip that circumnavigated the United States. So they started in Maine, drove to Seattle, down to California, down to the southwest states or southeast states, and then back up to Maine.
She wins.
That might be.
That might be the
I feel
winner.
like you got to set out to do that. That's just not like.
Well, you have to have a
"Oh, we're gonna-"
purpose, right?
Yeah.
So I've seen like where you can say, hey, I want to go see all of the national parks. You know, you can do
we've
that.
got some of those.
So maybe it's something like that. All right, so we have B and C, and now we need an E. And remember, we separated our pieces. So now we know that this is the section that goes here. And you're going to know because it's making this corner. Okay? All right, so here we go. Again, we could sew these just if we weren't talking about driving in national parks. This is off the subject. How many national parks have you been to, Super Duper Brock? Do you know off the top of your bean head?
I don't know if I've been to any national parks.
Really?
I've been to a lot of baseball parks.
Okay, how many Major League Baseball parks have you been to?
I think I did the math. I think I'm just over half.
How many are there?
30.
Okay, and you've been to 15?
I think I've been to 15 or 16.
Okay. Okay, that's good.
I had a question here for you, quick.
Yes?
From Karen M. How many times can you rip out a seam and reuse it before you would need to just replace the fabric?
Oh, twice.
Twice?
Twice. Twice is pretty much my limit because once you start ripping it out, the ends fray. So I guess how big is your piece? I mean, if it's normal like this is about the standard size of pieces I sew together twice. That's a great question. We should keep that for one of our trivia questions one day. Okay, so now I'm going to add shape F, and remember I have already separated them, so I know. And look at this. Ooh, screaming hot. Again, we've cut off the dog ears. We have these notches. We're going to sew it together. Okay. All right, so 15 baseball parks, not any national parks? Haven't been to Yellowstone?
No. I haven't made my way out west very often. I'm usually more going east.
Ah, because that's where the Yankees live.
That's true. They do live in that direction.
They do live in that direction. Okay. All right, so here we go. So now we have our two, see, look, right here. You want to make sure that lines up. So see right here where I didn't get all that 1/4 inch? Okay, I'm just going to come back right over here and sew it right there because otherwise that little piece is going to hang out and that's not what it's meant for. You make sure you're sewing that good 1/4 inch seam. Okay, all right, while I'm sewing the 1/4 inch seam, any other big road trips? I feel like the one around the U.S. was pretty impressive.
Yeah, people are just seeming like they're trying to top each other now. We have one that was from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to Fairbanks, Alaska.
Oh, wow.
More Canadian travel there.
There you go.
Let's see, Linda Martin took a trip from the Canadian Rockies from Michigan to the Canadian Rockies from Michigan. She said it was about a 30-hour drive.
Yes.
Going through mountains that's time consuming because that's the elevation up and down.
Right, the up and down, the up and down. Yeah.
So we had Harrison, Michigan to El Paso, Texas. So just coming straight down, bisecting the United States there.
Amazing.
So she also said, Mary said it was very boring. They didn't talk much. That's unfortunate.
That's unfortunate. Producer Joe and I drove to Paducah. That was 8 hours. That was a good long trip.
Yeah.
We did it well. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to sew these halves together. All right? These two pieces are different, so that's not what I'm worried about lining up. What I'm worried about lining up is these seams here. Okay? because when I want my block, when I sew it together, I want it to come together perfectly. All right, so I'm just gonna give it a little pin so it doesn't move. And then I'm gonna pin it right here as well, okay? And you don't have to, but I just like it to look tidy, okay? All right, here we go. You've not been to Colorado, to National Park in Colorado?
I've been to Colorado. I've been to Coors Field in Colorado, but I have not been to the national park, at least not to my knowledge.
Okay,
Maybe
well,
we drove
I'm
through
really
and
worried. I'm really worried about that. Oh, hey, stop! What is happening?
Uh-oh.
It's okay. All right, Brock's going to talk about it. Just what's going on while I figure out why my machine is not happy.
Yeah, let's take a look at some more of these trips we got here. A lot of long distance car rides. Really impressive that people like to take a lot of trips. I know my sister, she's trying to get my nephew to see all 50 states before he graduates high school. And she's down to Alaska
that's a
and
big
Hawaii.
goal.
Yeah, down to Alaska and Hawaii, so.
Oh, there you
I
go.
don't know how they're gonna drive to Hawaii, but.
Yeah, I have
Yeah,
been to
they will
49
figure
of
it
the
out.
50 states. So, all right, well, hold on here. This is real life television, so we're going to rewind we're going to rethread our needle here.
Yes, and there's one question that I can actually answer.
Oh my gosh, please do, Super
Debbie
Duper
Roach
Rock.
was asking what I was holding in my hand. I'm so glad you asked, Debbie.
Please, please tell everyone.
This is the Incredipen. This is not available on the AccuQuilt website. This is a Dream Studio exclusive. Sometimes we got some time to kill, and we have a lot of extra spare pens and things around. So yeah, just took a bunch of tape and got a Sharpie and a highlighter and some pens and a red pen and a mechanical pencil. So no matter what you need, it's right here for you. It's the Incredipen.
It's the Incredipen, and it's only available here in the
It's
Dream
only
Studio.
available here. We have to put it on display in like a nice little case. People
I'm laughing too hard. I cannot thread my needle here. Hold on. We're getting there. Okay, keep going.
Do we need Kenyon? Do we need Kenyon
Do
to
we
thread
need
the
Kenyon
needle?
to do it? No, I think I can do it here. I can get my finger behind here so I can see.
All right, let's see. We have a trip from Kathy Overland. Did a trip on their Harleys for vacation one year. It went 1,000 miles down the Oregon coastline into the Redwoods and up to Carter Lake and then back to Central Oregon. So it was a beautiful sightseeing trip.
I was going to say, that's just phenomenal.
Driving on motorcycles has always scared me.
Hey,
I don't know
Kenyon,
if
will
I
you
can
come do
handle
this
that.
for me?
Uh-oh.
Well,
Here
I
we go.
don't know why.
Here we go.
It is an all-team
Real all-star
effort.
lineup now.
All-star lineup. Here you go. Okay. There it is from the front. I know, it's just being goofy here today. We're having all the people help with us. Greg's in the studio with us today. Thank you, sir. Good job. Ta-da.
Yay.
Okay.
I would push the button for applause.
Oh, there. Thank you, Joe. Or Kenyon, did you do that for yourself? That was good job. All right. This is just live TV, right? This is what you get when you watch us live. This is great. Harley, so have you ever done like a trip on a motorcycle?
No, I don't think I'm not made for that. I need 4 wheels and a roof.
I need somewhere to nap.
That too. That too.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. I think that would be really hard for 1,000 miles. That's a long, look at that. Kenyon did a good job. It all works. 1,000 miles is a long time. Okay, I don't even know what I'm doing now. Oh, I'm sewing these 2 pieces together. Okay. And then we're gonna sew a block together. What a great day. All right, where else have people been? How long? Road trips.
Let's see, Noreen Olson. I drove from Boston to San Francisco, San Francisco to the Kennedy Space Center, Savannah to San Francisco back to Kentucky to the Space Center. Those were the longest trips that she ever took. She was in the military and had to transfer bases a few times. So yeah, those are.
Man, I feel like that's when you want to be a fighter pilot and you just fly your plane to
I don't
those
think
places.
that's how it works. But I
It
could
is.
be
It's
wrong.
truly how it is.
Really?
Those
You
planes
just
are theirs, yeah.
put an F-16
Did you not
and
watch Top Gun?
I've seen it many times. I don't remember them. I don't remember Maverick loading up a suitcase and luggage into the cockpit. And
No,
taking a trip
I
somewhere.
think when they go to new assignments, they take their plane. I think that's true. I don't know. Someone in the military tell us if that's true. If you're a fighter pilot in the military, tell us, do you just take your plane wherever you're going to go? Okay, so now I have some of my block together, and I'm going to press it open. Okay. We are having a great time today. Lots of things we're learning about. Here, I'm going to press it this way, and then I can press it open. All right, any other big road trips? Because I feel like now people are really getting into it.
We do have more road trip stuff. I actually have to do a follow-up because someone was asking me more about the Green Credit Pen, which I'm thrilled about. Karen J needed to know, how do I refill the mechanical pencil? Well, see, I tape it so that the ends of all of the things are still available, so I can just pop the eraser off the mechanical pencil and refill it right there. So I've really thought of everything.
So in case you wonder what the Super Duper Brock does on Tuesdays, he builds pens, right?
Well, I like to gadget and tinker, yeah.
Yeah, gadget and tinker. Okay. All right, so here's our block. Hallelujah. 37 minutes to sew one. Listen, in 37 minutes, you could sew blocks and blocks together. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to line them up just like this. And you want to make sure they're different, right? You don't want the centers to be the same. Okay. And a huge shout out to, oh, see, this is where you got to kind of work your magic here. The quilt behind us, oh, see, look, there's pink. All of you at home are telling me how to do it in your heads. I just know it. You're all going, no, Pam, switch that one. Switch that one. Okay, none of them are the same, right? Okay. All right, because we want it scrappy. All right. So now I'm going to sew my blocks together. Once again, I'm going to make sure when I sew them together that these seams here line up. Okay. All right, Super Duper Brock, we're almost done here. Tell us some more places people have been.
Yeah, Darlene took all 6 of her kids from Michigan to Las Vegas and then down to San Diego. All of the kids were between the ages of 4 and 10.
Okay, she's a brave mama.
That's rough. Let's see.
I once drove across Iowa with Taylor and Mason and thought I might not make it to the other side. So,
all right, so we got a big one here from Ramona. Over the course of 28 days, so roughly a month,
okay.
12 national parks and drove approximately 13,000 miles.
In a month?
In a month.
That is more
in
miles.
In February.
How many national parks did they see?
12.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, your job today, though, Brock, is to see if you've really been to a national park and just not known it. Because I feel like maybe you have.
Does nationals?
National parks, like Yellowstone.
You know, like the Washington Nationals baseball team?
I've been there to their park, seen a home game. It was fabulous.
But that doesn't count as
No,
okay.
It does not count as a national park. All right. Brock and I do love baseball. Brock loves it more than I do, which is amazing. Okay, so now my block is sewn together. So now I'm going to press this one direction and this the other direction so that my center seams will nest. And do you like the scrappy block, Brock, or do you like it solids? Or do you like the combination from like behind me?
I do like the combination, the Bright Fortunes quilt behind you there. The black and the white is great, and then just the rainbow of colors really makes the middle part pop, and it's a good look.
Larkspur Quilts made that. And she emailed me yesterday and told me where I could find fabric that I already bought, which is on the back. Okay, so now I've pressed to the opposite direction. So now I can lay my blocks together, and look, they're gonna nest perfectly. And again, when I come here to the end, I wanna make sure my end seams match. Okay, so take your time. It's a really simple block. It's really fun, easy to make. Just take your time with it. All right, do we have any last trips before we finish sewing our block, Brock?
Yeah, let's see here. There was one that I wanted to point out. It was all the way down. Let's see, Connecticut to North Pole, Alaska. Parents were big travelers. That was one of their summer trips. So.
I'm glad they went to the North Pole in the summer.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I imagine it's probably pretty cold no matter when you go. But.
Yes. All right.
Let's see, Gina Jackson Bowman, my cousin drove to Anchorage from Oklahoma many times. They went to Seattle, as you had said earlier, and then up the Alcan Highway.
Yes.
Took her up to 7 days if she slept every night, which
we hope she slept every night.
You sleep every night. That's
we hope so. We hope so. I'm going to tell you that when you take highway, it must be Highway 1, Pacific Coast Highway, down the Oregon coast all the way to California, some of the most beautiful places on earth are in the Oregon coastline. Like Haystack Rock is there, and Chimney Rock is in Nebraska. All right. Now look at this, quilters. Look how perfect my centers came, because I sewed those 1/4 inch seams. And look, all along the edge, it's going to be beautiful. So this is a scrappy version. So you want to follow the pattern to complete the quilt top. Quilt and bind as desired. Be sure and share your finished projects with us on our social media platforms. All right, Brock, are you attending the Des Moines Quilt Festival this week?
Sadly, no.
No? Okay, well, our team is. Some of the rest of us are going. Look for our team at the Inspired to Sew booth from 11 to 12 tomorrow. Tomorrow, Thursday, okay? The lovely Eric and I will be there to have a meet and greet. So Sew Inspired booth, or Inspired to Sew, 11 to 12. And, yes?
If I can interrupt for 1 second, we got a really interesting question here from Peggy.
Hi, Peggy.
She said, I got confused. Does scrappy mean different color or using different kinds of fabric from different makers?
Yes.
Scrappy can be whatever you want it to be.
Scrappy can be whatever you want it to be. In my quilting head, I very seldom mix mediums. I just 99% of the time I use cotton. Sometimes I use flannel, sometimes I use wool. But for me, scrappy is that some of the block is different. You know, it's just all my scraps. Whereas there's some continuity, right? But you could totally make this block completely scrappy and just use different versions of, you know, white fabric here or a different color. That's a great question. Do you like scrappy, or do you like the patterned, like the solid kind of?
Yeah, I think if I had to, you know, narrow myself down, I'd say I'm more of a solids guy.
If you had to choose one, okay.
And we got a comment from Diana Larson. She asked her husband, who's in the Air Force.
Thank you.
And they do not get to take their planes when they transfer
why not?
bases.
I feel like it's their plane. They know how to fly it. Let them go.
I don't think that the Air Force constructs to the dibs method of calling airplanes and then it's yours forever. I don't think that's a thing.
I feel like they paint your name on the side. It should be yours. Okay, thank you for clarifying for that. Okay, so tomorrow, meet us in Des Moines from 11 to 12, Inspired to Sew booth. And then at 2 o'clock, I will be teaching a 20-minute class in the education area, and we're giving a hands-on demo of the Ready, Set, Go. So if you want to see it in action, be sure to do that. And then join me and Erica on Tuesday, September 20th at 12 noon Central Time. We're going to get an early start on Halloween and introduce you to the newest member of our permanent die collection. Be sure to register for the chance to win prizes. So that's Tuesday. And then, Brock, we have a special show on Thursday all about the Des Moines trip.
Yeah.
So if you weren't able to go to Des Moines, we're going to have a great show like Brock. Then we're going to have a special show 12 noon Central Time on Thursday. Don't forget we have bundles. The first up is the Go Bob 9-inch finished die bundle, which includes those 2 new dies, the Star of the East and the Road to Fortune, which finished to 9 inches, and a 6x24 cutting mat. Next up is the Go Block on Board Favorites 9-inch die bundle. It includes the Star of the East, which is Brock's favorite, Road to Fortune, which is mine, 2 cutting mats, 10x24 and 6x24. The Crossroads die, the 9-inch setting triangles, so you can turn those blocks on point, and the Glorified 9 patch and the Go Starry Path. All right, so great bundles to get today that have those 2 new dies. All right, Brock, are you ready to announce the winner of our Go Road to Fortune die?
I can do that.
All right.
Maestro, if you would please with the drum roll. Barbara A. from Warren, Rhode Island.
Congratulations, Barbara. Okay, you're gonna love the die. Make sure you show finished projects with this. Fun fact, Super Duper Brock, he's the guy who chooses our winners for our shows.
Well, don't tell people that. Now I'm gonna be just hounded with like, oh, pick me.
Pick me, pick me. Shall I give him all your email address?
No, no.
Let's not do that. Actually, we have a randomizer.
I have a randomizer, yeah.
Yep, that chooses them. All right, so be sure to join us next week for AccuQuilt Live. So this week we used the Road to Fortune. Next week we're gonna use the Star of the East die. We're gonna make a different version with a pattern by our good friend Gina Jempasa. So make sure you register for the event for the chance to win prizes. All right, on behalf of our entire AccuQuilt Live team, which is so great today. Offsite, we have Morgan, and I think Lauren is helping in the comments today. And here in the Dream Studio, we have Justin. Thank you for threading my needle. Greg, producer Joe, and Super Duper Brock. Thanks for filling in today. It's been fun having you. I am Pam Heller, reminding you at AccuQuilt, we help you cut time so you can quilt more. We'll see you next week.